Hi, everyone. We are Meredith, Danielle, Erin, and Kelsey, and we would like to present our findings on how we can assist the Women's and Children's Alliance in Boise, Idaho, with our nonprofit management consulting services. We know now that the agency is losing 20% of their previous funding from one of their largest supporters. After thorough research and analysis, our consulting team has come up with a plan that will assist in making up those lost funds. We've also included a memo for the Women's and Children's Alliance to help guide you during this presentation. This presentation will include a strategic plan guide, budget overview, recommended plan of action, and our priority next steps in alignment with the Women's and Children's Alliance's mission in promoting safety, healing, and freedom from abuse and sexual assault. In addition, we've attached the current budget outline and 3 memos outlining the details for our consulting service recommendations.
Because of the possible bankruptcy of a major donor, the WCA faces a potential budget shortfall of almost $800,000. In 2022, the WCA had total assets of $9 million. The assets have increased over the years. The WCA had total revenues, gains, and supports of almost $4 million and total expenses of $3.5 million. Over the years, there haven't been any major budget fluctuations. Revenue and expenses have stayed relatively the same. Year after year, the majority of expenses were spent on salaries and benefits for employees, as well as rent and facility costs. At the end of the 2022 budget year, the WCA had a surplus of $400,000. Even with that surplus, a revenue loss of $800,000 would have a major impact on the WCA's programs and services. Fundraising and grants are important sources of revenue for nonprofit organizations. We provided a few ideas for new fundraising and grants the WCA could utilize. First one's a silent auction. It would be a collaboration with Boise State University's Department of Art, Design, and Visual Studies. Another one's an afternoon tea time. Another one's a collaboration between the WCA and the police. There's also direct mail programs that provide lucrative donations, and then there's a community race. Some of the grant opportunities are the Steel Reese Foundation's grant. It would be a minimum of $5,000, but a maximum of $50,000. Forever Idaho grant that is capped at $25,000, and the Hearst Foundation's grants is awarded through the William Randolph Hearst Foundation. It's anywhere between $30,000 to $100,000. And the last one is a Red Rover Relief Safe Housing Grant.
Now that we know the mission of the Women's and Children's Alliance, it's important when coming up with a strategic plan that we ensure that the agency can continue to fulfill its mission with the plan that we're putting in place. When looking at past strategic plans, the Women's and Children's Alliance hasn't done any. However, they are currently doing things to raise funding and awareness on their website, like Domestic Violence Awareness Month, becoming part of the Hope Society, having individual fundraisers, and also having donors and volunteers. So another part of coming up with a strategic plan is looking at what programs are of most importance and are the top priorities of this agency, which for the Women's and Children's Alliance, focusing on being able to continue to help those who are experiencing domestic violence and having those resources available are going to be the most important and aligned with the mission of the Women's and Children's Alliance. When coming up with this strategic plan guide, a couple of things that we considered were some advantages of the strategic plan. Obviously, with the budget cuts, the advantage is ensuring that we are using the funding effectively with programs that are of most importance and that align with the mission. Some of the disadvantages, there could potentially be pushback from employees and staff who are used to things a certain way. And that will take some time and some adjustment, but ultimately, we feel like the strategic plan will be helpful. The strategy change cycle model is what we utilize to come up with the plan, and there are examples and explanations in Memo 4 that's included with this presentation. There will be performance measures done to ensure that the plan is working and that it is effective and that it is utilizing the resources the most effective way. There are different resources available to help with the strategic plan process. Those are also listed in Memo 4 with this presentation. And then also included in that is an example of a logic model with a suggestion of incorporating more volunteers into the program and what that would look like and the outcomes that would come with that change.
So you may be asking yourself, what do we do now? Well, in the next few slides, I'll talk about what we recommend as your plan of action. Because you are getting a decrease in your funding, one of your donors is going through bankruptcy, we recommend that there be some budget cuts. We recommend that you look at your programs and prioritize which ones need to continue to receive the funding in order to fulfill your mission. Look at possible salary decreases. Look at cuts in other areas like advertising, telephone, postage, trainings, etc., as well as explore new grant opportunities and new fundraising efforts. We talked about this in previous slides, some possible grant opportunities as well as fundraising efforts. Decide amongst yourself what you think would work best for your organization. We also have some additional recommendations. In regards to a strategic plan, it's important to have one in place so that when a situation like you are going through now arises again, you have a plan and outline of what needs to be done. We recommend that you prioritize your programs, determine what the top priorities of your organization are, and how to fulfill that mission, and all of that will be outlined in your new strategic plan. Also, we recommend that you implement the strategic goal we had talked about earlier to create a new volunteer program that increases the number of volunteers for your organization and creates a new role for them called family coaches. In addition to this, we also recommend that you start and lead a new coalition with agencies throughout the state, calling it Combating Domestic Violence. You can see memo number 5 for more details in regards to that. This may all seem like a lot and be very overwhelming, a lot to deal with at one moment in time. So let's break down some priority next steps for your organization, the WCA, to do now. Number 1, we recommend you look at new fundraising efforts and budget cuts. How are you going to make up for the 20% deficit this upcoming year? It's important to make sure that you have your funding straight. Number 2, we recommend developing a strategic plan. Have a plan in place so that if you come across this situation again, you know what to do. You have a plan that you can implement to ensure the longevity of your organization. And number 3, we recommend your next step be to start and lead a coalition. Bring together the area agencies in support for combating domestic violence within the state of Idaho.
And this concludes our presentation. Please let us know if you have any questions. We look forward to working with the Women's and Children's Alliance.